So imagine with me for a moment that inside of you is everything in creation. That you don't need another creation. All the worlds, all the universes, all the stars, all the human creation, all the human souls, the 5 elements and everything in nature, and the energy that created all of that is inside you. And imagine that you had the exact formula, the perfect prayer to access that energy, to purify that energy, and to then use that energy for your own healing and for the healing of others. No, even more than that, to bring miracle healing to the world. Imagine that. Imagine that as you start to do those perfect prayers and they start to vibrate in you, that you start to feel something happening in you. And the heartbreak that you've carried your whole life, that heartbreak that you've never been able to get rid of, that seemed to go from relationship to relationship to relationship, that heartbreak melts away. For the first time in your life, a flower of bliss, a spark in you starts to come forward. Imagine that the sexual wounding or the sexual abuse or the negative sexuality that you experienced in your life that has had you suffering from feelings of unworthiness or guilt or shame starts to just melt off of you somehow. Strangely, miraculously, these prayers, these vibrations are purifying you, cleansing you, releasing you from these repetitive patterns of negativity and of pain and of unworthiness and so on that have followed you your whole life. Those karmic patterns are starting to just fall off of you. And then imagine that once you feel that purification has really taken hold, that you realize that you have an access to a divine energy that can help other people do exactly the same thing. That you can help them to purify their souls, to take away these negative feelings, to clear out these pains of abuse and these pains of heartbreak, to have beautiful, positive relationships, and even have divine babies. If you could do that, wouldn't you want it? Yeah, you would. Well, you don't have to imagine, because that is the hidden power of the holywomb chakra. Everything we've mentioned there, and tons more, is that hidden power of the womb chakra. And those perfect prayers exist. And you might be asking yourself, and then why the heck have I never even heard about a womb chakra? What if this thing's so stinking powerful, that it can do all that? How come I've never heard of this? A couple of years ago, I went Googling womb chakra, and I got a lot of things about the second chakra. It's not the second chakra. The womb chakra is a different chakra from that. It is the highest, holiest chakra in the body. Women carry it in their physical bodies, but men have, as Swami says, the fragrance of that. It's at the soul level. And the men use the physical womb of their mothers to make that connection. And by having pure love on their mother, then they make that connection back to that womb chakra energy. So this is for all people. It's not just for women. It's for women and for men. But, why have we never heard of this? Well, because it is power. It is connecting to the ultimate power, the ultimate divine energy which created everything. And that scares people, so it got hidden for a while. It comes from ancient writings and ancient manuscripts. And Swami Kaleshwar was able to get a hold of these manuscripts, and more than that, to be able to know their worth, to understand that inside these manuscripts was the key to the universe inside you, the key to the creation energy in every being. And it was his great grace to bring that forward in this time. 7,000 years old, this knowledge is. And hidden away, and kept in secret, and known by a few, and worked by a few. And it makes sense, doesn't it? You know, if something's that powerful, then you have to be careful with it. But Swami Kaleshwar has, I think, placed a bunch of protection circles on us that we're able to bring this to you now in this time. So there are a set of processes. We call it the holy womb chakra processes. And they can be done. And this talk today, this is a vast ocean topic. We're going to take a few drops just to try and get the flavor of the water today. But if you really want to know what these processes are, if you decide after hearing this today that you want to do these processes, and I really pray you do want to do them, because it will change your life. But if you decide you want to do these processes, you need to contact a certified Kaleshwar teacher. And what you do to find one of those is to write to holywomb@divinelineage.org. And I will repeat that at the end. Somebody remind me to repeat that at the end here, so that you know where to write to find a certified teacher in your area, and also healers in your area who have already charged this, who've already purified with these sacred processes, and are capable of transferring that divine energy to you if you're in need of that. And for those out there who are those certified teachers and healers, please also write in to holywomb@divinelineage.org to give your information so that we can hook everybody up. Because doing this is not about me. It's not about any single person. It takes a village to change the world. And that's what we're going to do. So, all right. So, you know, what is this womb chakra? What is this? It is a point in you. It is a chakra in you, an accessing point in you to the great creation, to the divine mother's womb, the place that was before form, the place that was before duality, the place that is before anything you might already consider to be real, that place of creation energy. This womb chakra is an access point to that. It is the place where you yourself, once you purify that spot, hold that same energy inside you. Now, just knowing that, we can start to understand what's the power, the hidden power of this holy womb chakra. Because if you can access the place before anything began, and the energy that started anything to come into this world and into creation, that birthed everything into creation, then you can, once you get that purified and strengthened and add a few bits of knowledge and practices to that, you can access things that have never ever been in the creation and bring them forward to the world. What does that mean? Peace on earth? I mean, that'd be nice. Or love in each person's heart. Or just in someone's physical body, a healing that they've never had before inside them, to recreate the 5 elements in them through that access to this possibility of all creation. It's a miracle energy that you're pulling through. It's a miracle. What are miracles? Well, you know, that's an interesting question all in of itself. We could talk all day on that one. But it's a miracle energy because you're pulling through something that is not natural. It's supernatural. It is beyond what has already been created here. It's an intense possibility, this hidden power of the womb chakra, because it has this an ultimate power of creation from the place before all things, that place of the Holy Mother's womb. Making your womb chakra like that. That's what these purification processes are about. Now you might also ask, well, why all of a sudden is this available? Why this timing? Why this timing now? Well, whether you call it 2012, or you call it the Mayan calendar, or you call it the second coming of Christ, or you go to the Hopis for your information about a time of world change, it seems like every place you go, every spiritual discipline you listen to has some understanding that this is a very special time on the earth right now. And I guess every generation thinks they're in a special time on the earth, probably. but we are. Trust me on this. But we do see this coalescence, this triangulation of beliefs from various disciplines that give us some idea that maybe we in fact really are in a special time here on the planet. And what is the nature of that special timing? Well, in the Vedic traditions, the belief is that we're moving what's called the Kali Yuga, which is a time of darkness. It's a time when the Dharma is on one leg. And what that means is that it's a time when the Divine Mother and the spirituality within us and her energy seated within us has been forgotten. That we're all connected to the things of the illusion, the experiences of the illusion, the emotions that are running in us, but we are disconnected from the truth of that which existed before things, before form. And that we're moving into what's called the Sai Yuga. And that's a time when people will start to remember that there is a spark of the Divine Mother in them. They will remember that divine energy, that universe, that creation energy that created all things, that great spark of creation is inside of them. They'll remember that, and in remembering that, they'll begin to remember the Divine Mother, they'll begin to remember the truth of spirituality, and eventually they'll begin to be able to change their lives to walk from that spark in every moment. Not from their emotions, not from their fears, not from their angers, not from their money or their greed or their needs, but from the spark of divine which lives in them and lives in you. So, why now? Why now? Because it's a timing. It's a cosmic timing for this to come forward in the world. And it's time. When we think of the generations, and I'm just speaking of women in particular, because women hold this womb chakra in their bodies, just speaking of the generations of women who have been repressed or abused or have lost their way in terms of understanding the importance of the energy that they're carrying in their bodies, who are lost in their emotions and in their fears and in their heartbreaks. To think about the eons of time of degradation and repression that has happened, we've got a ways to go before we have that revitalization of the Sai Yuga that says, okay, now women are holding that power within their own womb chakras. We've got a ways to go. So we've got a time of transition here. And this information, the processes of the holy womb chakra, and just even understanding that you have a womb chakra and that it is holy and that it is a connection to the creation, that is what needs to be the first seed to that recreation of the world. You know, with these processes, parents can also, at the time of conception and throughout the pregnancy, create a divine child. Create a divine child. Parents, who doesn't want that for their child? That the child's soul will be charged with that creation energy. Let's think about it that way. absolutely that spark in them will be ready to go when they're birthed onto the earth. And for me, I think that's one of the ways that we're going to change the world through the wombs of women. That not only will the women who charge and purify their womb chakras with these processes find that they hold that power of creation in them and walk in their lives in a different way and be in their family and their work and their communities in a very different way, but they can create divine children who will come to the world as little avatars, as little beings of light and love, who don't have to go through a huge amount to just peel the heavy energy off of that bright light that they are. They'll come in shining. And then within a couple of generations in that way, we can change the world through the wombs of women. That's why now, excuse me, I get a little bit clamped when I think about that. Because, you know, I was of that generation, Beatles generation or something, you know, all we need is love. You know? So I grew up thinking I wanted to change the world, you know, and somewhere in the midst of everything, I kind of lost that. And then here came this information, the real way to do it. And I can tell you, I'm not letting it go. And I think you ought to grab onto it too, because this is the real way to do it. This changes the state of consciousness of humankind. I think I would want to take that class. I don't know about you, but I would want to take that class. So, okay, we have this powerful womb chakra. It's connected to the womb of Mother Divine. That we understand right away that is a huge source of what's making it powerful. Another piece we need to sort of bring into the equation so that we understand really how is this womb chakra energy working and what is it that we need to do to purify it. The other piece of information we need to bring in is that this is a primary resting place of the soul. Now, the womb chakra is. And although the soul energy is everywhere in the body, everything is charged by that soul energetic. And basically that is the underlying operating principle of you, is that everything in you is charged by your soul energy. Therefore, if your soul is carrying karma, which every soul is carrying, except for a crystal soul like Jesus who came to the world without, but all of us, sorry to say, you're carrying karma on your soul. That soul goes across many lifetimes, and of course, it is the thing that comes in through the womb chakra into this lifetime, and it is carrying the karmas. So the womb chakra is a primary resting place of the soul. The heart is another place of that, and the relationship between womb chakra and heart, we could go on, you know, and third eye and Mushi chakra. We could go on for a long time on those. We're going to sort of go for the surface level here. Okay, so because the soul's resting place or home place is primarily in the womb chakra, and because the soul is that which carries the karmas, there's an important link here with purifying that womb chakra energy. Because you can literally, through the power of the womb chakra, decharge the karmas back to the Divine Mother's womb. So now we see this kind of link of the power, not just, we're connected to the Divine Mother's womb, but what are we going to do with that? Well, automatically, because the soul is in our womb chakra, and soul is carrying the karmas, we purify that, we start decharging those karmas to the Divine Mother's womb. So maybe we ought to define karma. Okay, little regress. We're going to take a side trip over here to give the quickest definition of karma ever known to humankind. Another ocean topic. We've just pulled in another sea, and we're going to take 2 drops. Mm-hmm. Swami always talked about it as action and reaction. But common words for knowing that is that you reap what you sow. Every action, every reaction, every emotion, every thought carries a trace of energy. Let's think of it that way. And those traces of energy impact on your soul vibration and on your soul energy. And so every thought you're having, every emotion you're having layers something onto your soul, interacts with that vibration in some way. Every action you take, every reaction you take. And that basically is karma. The positive actions, reactions, thoughts, and so on create positive karma. The negative thoughts, which, I know we have lots in our lives, but the negative thoughts and the negative reactions and the negative actions in the world create negative karma. And there's sort of a balancing act there at your soul level, how much negative, how much positive, well, how much today, how much tomorrow. Good works can create positive and eliminate some negative karmas. So this thing of karma, the actions and reactions and things that we did in past lives come with us to this lifetime. And they act as kind of Mother's auto mechanism for teaching us our lessons. By having that energy layered on us, we become, let's just imagine we're like an energy field of our karmas. And as we enter this energy field, which is the nature begins to react to us. And of course, then we react back. And it reacts back to us, and the cycle of karma continues. So it ends up being kind of like an automatic way for God, the Divine Mother, to get us to meet our issues over and over and over again until we do it well, until we do it right, until we do it beautifully, until we do it with non-attachment to the illusion and open-heartedness. That's really the trick. On every single karma you've got, every single block you've got, is about no reaction, no emotion, non-attachment to that, and a state of open-heartedness and unconditional love. Now, one more thing. We've just talked about karma, K-A-R-M-A, but all karma comes from Kama, K-A-M-A. And they're laughing because they know that statement from Sri Kailash, where all karma comes from Kama. So what is Kama? Well, Kama, briefly, is desire. It's sexual desire, but it's all desires. And it is our Kama, our desires, which drive our responses. There's a little more complex system there with gunas and so on, but we don't need that for this moment. So when you have your Kama energy, your needs, your desires, your wants, your feelings, your reaction, that's what pushes you into action or reaction. Okay, so that's a little, that was our detour into karma and Kama. So how do these processes of the womb chakra affect on that? There are some specific processes of the womb chakra for purifying Kama energy and lowering it down, purifying it, and then, in a sense, reattaching it to the divine desires, to the desires of your soul. Kama never really dies. It's a creation energy. It's part of the mother. I think Nityananda said we were in the Mandir with Swami, and we were in this big question of where does the spark come from? And people were guessing, it comes from here, it comes from there, where's the spark? This is the way Swami worked. He let us guess our way through things. And Nityananda finally said, well, I think, the spark may be mother's desire to know herself. So Kama energy, that desire, that base energetic of creation is part of what propels things into creation. It's part of mother, even her Kama, if we want to think of it that way, her desire energy is part of creating the spark of creation. So it never dies. It never dies. We're not going to kill our Kama energy. We're going to purify it. And we're going to attach that Kama energy to the desires of our souls. And imagine how different your life might be if your desires were pure soul desires. You get into an interaction with somebody and they say something to you, they criticize you, they're rough on you, Most of us, then our karma energy takes us to, well, same to you, buddy, or, or, oh, I'm so wounded because they said this to me, or whatever it might be. What if you were being driven by your soul desires and you therefore looked at that person and thought, oh my goodness, look at the pain in them. I think I'll love them right now. They must need that. It'd be a different world, wouldn't it? It'd be a different life, for one thing. And it'd be a completely, utterly different world we're living in if that happened. So that some of those womb chakra processes actually purify that karma energy. And there's a womb chakra yantra as well, which you can have drawn and blessed. And that just placing that in your bedroom, it starts to work to purify that karma energy in you. So there's a lot, I can't tell you all the things that are going on in the womb. Take the class, this is a big advertisement for the class. Take the class because there are lots of different components of this womb chakra process that intervene on that karma energy and on that karma energy. So now you're starting, I hope, to get a little taste of where that power comes from. It comes from that connection to the Divine Mother's womb, and it comes from operating directly on your soul energy through the vibrations that you're charging when you charge these processes, these mantra and yantra process. And it works directly on the karma energy, which is the source of karma, and it allows for the decharging of karma all the way back to the mother's womb. Now, that's the power to change yourself, to change your life, and ultimately to change the world. In my everyday life, when I'm not sitting here in the among the beautiful flowers here in the Divine Lineage Healing Center, I am a healer in this tradition. And first, maybe my own testimonial here in that first, these womb chakra practices really had a beautiful impact on my own energy and my own heartbreaks and my own abuse in childhood, really releasing the hook that was there. You know how we get hooked into a pain and we just start behaving from it and we start rehearsing it inside ourselves and everything becomes a reflection of that, and then we're like making it worse for ourselves, and then we choose partners who reflect that back to us, and you were abused as a child, so you marry an abusive partner, and so on and so forth. Well, that I could feel it cut through that cycle for me. I was a psychologist before I was an energy healer. So I'd been through therapy, it had done me some good. I highly recommend it at some point in your journey, but something different happened here with these processes. It's like the root energy that was causing it was being melted away. So that would be my own testimonial, but I can tell you that I've had tons of clients who have either experienced a transmission of womb chakra energy from me, or have chosen to do the processes themselves, or a process themselves specific to whatever their issue was, their ailment. And it has been the most beautiful thing to watch. As a healer, you're supposed to be non-attached at some level, but you want people to heal. You want that. And to see that happen for people, there was one beautiful woman who was in her 50s now, who had gone from heartbreak relationship to heartbreak relationship, from abusive relationship, from abuse as a child to abuse in our relationships to abuse in the next relationship. Heartbreak, abuse. That was her life. She didn't really know anything else in her life. And we did transmission to her, and she felt that energy. And she thought, and I said, well, there's a deeper way to go here. You can do this for yourself. If you want to do these processes, 101 days, that's a pretty short period of time. You were in therapy for 7 years, That's 101 days is nothing here, so why not give it a try? And she wasn't much for mantras and yantras, it's kind of weird stuff, but, she went for it. I had several sessions with her during those 101 days. And each time she was clearer and brighter each time I saw her. Each time she was happier. Each time she was coming to a clearer revelation inside herself. Nobody had to be her therapist. That therapy was already happening inside of her. Those revelations were coming forward. Oh, I was always doing this because of that. Oh, I was always choosing, why I chose him because he's just like my mother, or, whatever. Those insights were coming to her naturally. Healing with her became super easy, just keep that moving, keep that going. After she did several different processes from the womb chakra process. She did one for heartbreak. She did one for basic womb purification. She did one for betrayal. And she originally started them all in 101 days. That was too much for her. So then she sort of metered it out over several 101 day chunks. But after all that was finished, she was a different woman. And I wish we had a call-in show, because I know she would call in and tell you the same thing she told me. She says, I have never in my life, this also gets to me, woken up happy. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. Maybe I shouldn't tell the stories. I get a little too into it there. Okay, so but I am going to tell one more story. Okay, and this is for the guys. I had a guy come who had a very super difficult relationship with his mother. And, there were reasons for that. And in addition to that, he was having super difficult relationships with women in general. He hadn't had a successful relationship. He barely managed to maintain a relationship for more than a year. And here he was in his late 40s and really aching for that now. Really feeling like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing with this, and I know it's some deep-seated thing with my mother. I got to go get some help. Okay, so he showed up with that issue, and bless his soul, he was also a bit of a womanizer. Okay, he was also, he couldn't maintain relationships. So what's the other avenue to go here? If you want a little company, you got to go. You got to be a little bit of a womanizer type guy. So. We did a number of things with him, but I think the one process that really cut through it, and it's a process that you can do too. The one process that really started cutting through this, we had him do a basic womb chakra purification mantra, of course, but the one that really cut through this and shifted the energetic relationship with his mother. His mother was still going to act like his mother, but he didn't have to react. He didn't have to carry that on him. He didn't have to be a product of that creating his life in every relationship. So the one thing that he reported really worked for him is a super simple process. You take your mother's picture, and every single day you bow down to it with gratitude and thanks and love. And if you're not there in that moment, because your mother was like this guy's mother, or you had a bad relationship with your mother, or there were pains and your mother was your abuser or whatever, you stay down there. That's what we had to have him do. You stay with your head to the floor until you can get there. Whatever memory is coming up, whatever issue is coming up, whatever anger with her, okay, express it. Okay, tell her about that. But your job is to get, before you can take your head off that floor, your job is to get to the place where you're in gratitude, compassion, love for mom. And when I first told him this exercise, he pretty much thought it would be impossible because he didn't think he could have that kind of compassion because she had been pretty abusive. But, he trusted me by then because we'd done some work together, so he entered into this process. Sri Kaleshwar said do it for 21 days. I told him to do it for 41 days. And that if it felt like it was working for him, to keep doing it for 101 days. And you can keep doing it for the rest of your life if you want. It's an amazing process. So he started, and he came back the next couple of weeks, and he said, well, the first couple of days was like 2 hours with my head on the floor. I had like a flat spot here, out of my head on the floor. He says, but it got better. It got better. And he said, and you know what I realized? My mom had to have been abused herself. Mm-hmm. So, the compassion was raising. And he went ahead and did it for 41 days. And at the end of that, he said, I think that's the thing that did it, he said. That's the thing that did it. Because I kind of get it now. And I know that what those women are wanting from me is what I wanted from my mother. Simple, isn't it? That kind of enlightened realization that finally comes when your heart is open and when all that pain is washed. And it's a simple process you can do too. Sri Kaleshwar also said that, that's probably the best one if you had a difficult time with your mother. But if you loved your mother, it was a beautiful relationship, you can just think on your mother lovingly, open-heartedly for 15 minutes before you fall asleep at night. And that'll start activating a connection from the place, your womb chakra energy, to the place where you were brought into creation in your mother's womb. And that's a crystal place. That's an important energetic to connect to. Because that was the moment, one step before that, you were out of the creation. Now you're in the creation and you're in your mother's womb. There's a miracle energy there in that womb chakra of your mother that you are connecting into. You're connecting into a miracle moment in your own life, and you're connecting into a moment that then connects you not only to the womb of your mother, but back to the womb of Mother Divine. So to purify that pathway from your womb chakra to your mother's womb chakra, you can do either one of these versions. The 15 minutes at night before going to bed, just thinking lovingly on your mother, and throw your father in there too, it can't hurt. I've had people that do the picture process with their father as well. I choose to do that. It's beautiful, but in terms of womb chakra connection, we really want to have that happen with your mother. Or you can do the bowing down to the picture and coming to a place of gratitude and love with your mother. I've had a lot of people do that process, and I've never heard somebody say that it didn't work for them. It's done something amazingly beautiful for everyone who's tried it. There are also some other things that you can do beyond, before you start taking the class, to maybe get a taste of the energy or to feel the energy. And for women, one of those things you can do is to keep your menses sacred. It's a much longer explanation about why we would want to keep the menses sacred. But when you start to realize that this womb chakra is physically in your body, and so it's probably part of your procreative system as well, and that it's the soul energy or the divine energy influencing the procreative system, then you start wanting to take care of that procreative system as well. And holding your menses sacred, that can really set your inner energy into a kind of calm and peace and ability to deal with the world in the whole next month. Honestly, it can. And one of the beautiful things about women is that we attach. That attachment energy it's part of us. Our hearts are open. We feel things deeply. We attach to our children. We attach to our loved ones. We have this huge tenderness of heart and attachment to things. But that means that we're also a little vulnerable, a little tender. And one of the ways that you can start balancing that tenderness in you is by holding your menses sacred. Now, what does that mean to hold your menses sacred? Well, ideally, it's not going to work in modern times, so we'll give you a shortcut for modern times. But ideally, it would be taking sacred time apart to be in stillness, to be in inner silence, to be with the creation energy that's flushing and flowing in you and from you. It would mean taking time apart from crowds and negativity and people and even taking time apart from family and partners. And it means, therefore, not having any sexual exchange during that menses timing. Another really important part of keeping your womb chakra pure is to not have that sexual exchange on new moon or full moon either. Swami once said the mother's on her menses in new moon and full moon. And so we would hold her menses sacred as well, if you want to think about it that way. It's a huge part of for women, keeping your energy even and balanced and clear, is to honor that there's a sacred process happening in you. Now, okay, modern women, even ancient women, we've got families, we've got kids hanging on us, we've got dogs running across the house, we've got pee to clean up over there, and we've got a dinner to make, and so on and so forth. Who gets peace and quiet? Nobody. But okay, create some space of peace for yourself. This is where we really need the guys' help. We really need the family's help to say, look, I need at least 1 hour of meditation on my menses. And just even staying silent within yourself is useful. Not everybody can take off work, excuse me, I'm having my menses. I need 3 days of peace and silence. No, it's not going to happen. I understand. But it's a practice of maintaining an inner silence and choosing, instead of when you go home, instead of flipping on the TV or whatever, to take a few minutes of inner silence for yourself, to really honor who you are, to really be in connection with the great creation that's inside of you. Just if every woman in the planet would do that, the world would already be different. And when women balance their energies, every avatar, every Jesus, Buddha, Shirdi Baba, every saint on the planet came to here through a womb chakra. The womb chakras of the world have to be purified, and those holding those womb chakras have to find an inner balance and an inner silence and an inner honoring of that. The whole world changes when women change. When women find the sacred nature that is inside of them, when women honor the sacred nature that is inside of them, when women purify that and strengthen that and begin to live that in their lives, then the men in their lives change. Again, we need a call-in show. My husband needs to call in. I've changed. And we all think it's for the better. But men do change. Because when a woman holds that sacred energy inside of her in a beautiful way, it allows the man to drop into his silence and his strength and re-know himself again. And then she draws on that and she gives back to him from her inner strength. And I guess we'll have a beautiful couple here talking about the results of that. I'm not sure what day that is, that we'll have Nina
Thursday.
and Stephen. On Thursday, we'll have Nina and Stephen talking about that, not just as a womb chakra process, but as a life process, as a Shiva Shakti engagement. But the hook into the womb chakra issue is that purity of self is what creates purity of relationship. And it's how we support the truth in one another, is to know the truth in ourselves, to be the truth in ourselves. And that automatically starts supporting the ones we love, to be the truth in themselves. Mom, think of this. You know the truth of yourself. You're purified that womb chakra energy. And your children start to just see that in you. To want that is as to expect that that's the way one walks around in the world. They might get a little shocked when they go to kindergarten, okay. But in the meantime, you're a huge imprint on them. In fact, Mother, that's another easy process we should talk about here. That's basically using your womb chakra and the connection that you automatically have with any child who has come through that womb chakra. Any child that you've birthed into the world, you are the greatest healer to that child. Greater than any healer, greater than any saint, greater than a Jesus. You. Because you have a direct connection through that holy womb chakra to the place where their soul came into creation. Your prayers on them, that's an easy mechanism. Swami gave he's given several different forms of this. Let's just lay them all out here. Do which form works for you, okay? But do it. Because your prayers can change the nature of your child's life, certainly can change the soul vibration of your child. So, okay. So, form number 1 is that you would light a candle in the child's room. This is assuming this is a young child, or maybe I had a lady do it for her 30-year-old child who was still at home. Oh, that's easy. He sleeps all the time, she said. So you light a candle in their room while they're sleeping. And then, Mom, you just talk to their soul. You just talk directly to their soul, your desires, your wishes for the health and the well-being of their life and of their soul energy. Okay, that's one. That's so strong, that mechanism, that it even works on addictions, which is why the lady was doing it on her 30-year-old who was home sleeping all the time. Another form of this is, if I get it wrong, somebody remind me, but another form of this is that you can sit inside a circle of same-sized candles and then do heartful prayers again to the soul of your child and for their well-being and for their health and for their welfare. And that can be done for a child of any age, and it can be done for a child that isn't a child anymore. It can be as long as they came from you, you can do it for them. They're 40, 50, 60 years old. You're still mother sitting in the circle. Same size candles. Same size candles is important there because you're drawing on that energy of the light. Then another way that this can be done is at the timing of birth, while in the womb. If you're carrying a child in the womb, your mother's prayers are strong energy on your child because you and your child are one during that time. And whatever energy you experience, you already know this because you're watching what you eat, you're watching everything you expose yourself to. Energetically, what energy you experience is also transferred. So if you put yourself in a beautiful state, if you do beautiful mantras, if you are listening to beautiful bhajans and so on, then that is transferring to the child. But also your divine prayers are transferring to the child. Also, you can do a divine prayer at the time of birthing. Now, I've heard from a number of women who tried to do this that they were so busy huffing and puffing and heeing and hawing and squeezing and so on, that they they couldn't pull that off.
Lord, just help my kid. As much as I can get out there. But, it's a sacred timing. It's a miracle timing. And if you use that miracle timing, it can also very strongly bless your child. And then, I said I would mention how to write in and find Kaleshwar certified healers. And it is, and I'll go slowly with it this time so you can get a pen and paper and write it down. It is holywomb at divinelineage.org. O-R-G. Holywomb at divinelineage.org. And remember, Kaleshwar healers who are certified and who have special blessings, we should also mention that there are Kaleshwar healers who have been given special blessings that if you're out in need of that, we can also find someone to hook you up with through this holywomb at divinelineage.org email address. And these special blessings are things like a short 10-minute Shakti pot with some blessed sandalwood paste to a pregnant woman to make a divine child. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty amazing, huh? And another is 9 blessings. I call it the 9-stroke womb purification, but I'm not sure what it's actually titled. But it's 9 blessings that you would have to get over a period of time, within a certain period of time and over a period of time, to purify your womb chakra. If you feel you can't do these processes to do your own purification, which I completely recommend to you, because the process is exquisite. But if you feel like you can't do mantra, you can't do yantra, or maybe you're too ill to do that or something, this 9 blessings, this 9-stroke womb purification may be for you, and we have healers in various places that can do that. And there are other types of special blessings that can be given. I can't remember them all, but in this moment. But if you're needing a special blessing, you can write into that place, and we'll try and hook you up with the closest Kaleshwar healer. And Kaleshwar healers, please, if you have these blessings, let's get them out to the world. Write into holywomb at divinelineage.org. Let us know which blessings you have, which certifications you have to teach Holy Womb Chakra, and whether or not you do Sai Shakti healings charge the womb chakra system and do Sai Shakti healings with that womb chakra energy, because we really do need to change the world through the wombs of women and through the wombs of divine men. And it can happen. With these practices, it can